All right, welcome to the King of Kings boxing. I'm just going to do my pre-fight prediction for the Terrence Crawford Errol Spence fight. Basically, it comes down to a few things for me. If you look at the matchup, there's just both guys have some very good advantages. I do consider this a 50-50 fight with me tilting it 0.5 one way to another fighter. So, for instance, okay, just to get it out there, I'm picking Spence to win, and this is why. Superior jab. Jab, we all know jab is probably the best weapon in boxing. If you have a good quality jab, you can control the action. Work rate. Errol's constantly throwing punches. He has good motor. He stays strong consistently through a fight. And it's sort of like the juggernaut effect. As the fight goes on, he gets stronger and stronger. And that's definitely going to continue here in this fight as well. Okay, so next, I would say body work. High level body work, which no matter what opponent you're facing, it's going to slow them down. And that's why I think Spence usually avalanches his opponents, is because the body work starts slowing the guys down, making it difficult for them to compete. And as the fight rages on, we all know body work starts taking over to an extent. Another thing is, as far as defense, I've seen in the training camp, Spence looks like he's going to be very defensively sound. He's going to keep his hands up in a guarded position. He's not going to be lazy with a jab, which would create opportunities for Terrence Crawford to connect. But solid defense, keeping his hands close to his face, standing in a defensive posture. Another thing is, when I refer to work rate, Errol Spence is very good at not allowing himself to be tied up, which is convenient because, to be honest, Terrence Crawford is not the type of guy to tie up. He rather exchange instead of just try to hold on to guys. It's just not his style. So already, like I said beforehand, that Spence has, an uncanny ability not to be tied up. He can throw from different angles. He always try to keep a hand loose to keep throwing. Physical strength and size. Errol's bigger, stronger. Like I said, his physical dimensions are going to come into play. It's going to allow him to wear down Terrence Crawford as the fight continues. But like I said, this is 50.5 to Spence. The thing for Crawford is there is some things that he can do to win this fight as well. For instance, he's extremely athletic. I think to an extent, his foot speed is slightly faster than Spence. He's more dynamic in that, I guess, those aspects. He is a switch hitter. The funny part is, routinely lately he's been going southpaw to fight fighters, and that's where he seems to dominate. I initially thought, because it's a southpaw and the orthodox fighter is having difficulty there. But I come to realize that actually him turning southpaw changes the dimensions of the distance. So it allows him to actually be further away, and he's real good at keeping his outside foot on the outside. As funny as it seems, because I don't think Terrence Crawford is even remotely as good in the orthodox stance. He may want to do that just to create distance, and that would muffle some of the jabs from Spence. But the other side of the coin is, if he goes to the right hand, if he goes southpaw, Spence, he doesn't have a lot of, I don't think he have I don't know, it would be interesting because Terrence Crawford turning southpaw will make it easier for the jab to land. So that like I said, so that leads me to, that's why the Spence to me is going to win, because of the jab wars. Another thing is, okay, so we got 12 rounds in this fight. The first 3 rounds, I feel like it's going to be a fill out. Guys are going to try to fill out. They say notoriously that Terrence Crawford is a slow starter. I think there's going to be so much angst in this fight. They're going to want to see what the other person gets. And in the midst of that, if you got a person that's jabbing and throwing a little bit more, he's going to win those rounds. So I think Spence will win a bunch of rounds early. As the fight goes on, and Spence is slowly putting more body work onto Terrence Crawford, Terrence Crawford's level of urgency is going to go up. And in that point in time, I think he's going to put a lot of punches together. Not necessarily go broke, but he's gonna make his stand around the fourth, fifth, but I want to say the fifth round. He'll make his stand and really try to unload and show Spence what he got. I think he'll be looking to get a knockout by the seventh round. He might get a knockdown, but I've seen Spence stumbled a little bit, but those weren't like, I think he was still coherent. I don't know. So maybe a flash knockdown, Terrence Crawford gets in there, but I don't think so. I think he just he pretty much runs the fuselage in 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now here's where the interesting part. In the midst of him rumbling in those rounds, Errol's going to be working, and the body work is going to start to accumulate. And so when we get to the 9th round, I'm just saying that I looked at Terrence Crawford. He's put on some significant muscle. I don't necessarily know. Maybe the slow starts are because maybe his stamina's not. It's not the same as Spence. Spence is just a punching machine. But I think he's spent by round 9. I think he's spent significantly, just because of the strength. Errol's going to be imposing body work. And I got Errol Spence possibly stopping Terrence Crawford in the 10th, at the latest 11th round. But I'll concrete on the 10th round, Errol Spence by stoppage. And I think it's just going to be because both guys are going to put so much effort into winning and hurting the other guy that the guy with the superior gas tank, the guy that's has absorbed less punishment, as in body work, putting water in the basement. And I think that's going to be Spence. So, yeah, I got Spence 10th round stoppage. And that's my final prediction on this fight. Like I said, I gave a breakdown how both guys could win, but I just think there's certain things in Spence's favor that's going to lead to him winning. Oh, and just real quick, intangibles. If we do get into a firefight, I think Spence is a little more equipped to absorb the punishment. I think his determination is unmatched. So I just don't see. I just feel like Errol is going to will himself into victory, but I think Terrence is going to do everything in his power to break his will, and I don't think he's going to be able to do it. And once he realizes that, and he's spent that 10th round, is going to be a lot of punishment. You're going to see a lot of punches thrown in that round by Spence, and I don't see it maybe necessarily that concussed, but I think him just draining him, and maybe it'll be a stoppage or a wave off. He's just absorbing a lot of punches. But yeah, 10th round stoppage. Errol Spence Jr. will become the undisputed champion at 147, the first in the 4-belt era. Thank you guys for tuning in for the King of Kings, and I'm out.